I see people giving Dillon a lot of flack.
Good.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Dillon,
Hilarious.
give him his moment, people. He beat me.
The following is a production of Dirty Mo Media.
Hey guys, welcome to Actions Detrimental post Atlanta Motor Speedway. One of the best finishes we've had in the Cup Series so far this year. Chase Elliott, your winner. What's our race reaction? We had plenty of time to watch it. Travis, did you continue to watch this race?
He was not excited about Chase winning, though.
Why would I be? Chase winning doesn't help Denny.
Fair enough. Y'all can see my co-host, Jared Allen. He is...
I'm Kings to wind out. They didn't get all the value on Saturday night that I think they were hoping for in the race, so I got to bring it to him here.
Close your laptop real fast so people can see what you're wearing. He's got his own custom.
And the shirt. Solid. Way to go, Jared.
How was your King's Hawaiian trip?
It was good. I mean, we got to have some King's Hawaiian rolls right out of the oven, and I'm talking about right out the oven. They were in the process. They were doing the cooling process to them, and we got to match it with a stick of butter that's actually their ingredient butter. It's not like a retail butter. It was mighty good. I got my carb load for the day. We didn't fulfill our end on Saturday night that we were hoping to. Although I did have a previous sponsor in Rockwell Automation that says if you don't win, wreck. That's our only ask.
Why?
Because then they're going to keep showing the replay.
Yeah, and their logo is always going to be shown like up against the wall or, you know.
Well, if Kings Hawaiian wanted that,
They said that's what they loved about Mike Bliss. Yeah, he didn't run that great, but he wrecked all the time. That was good for us.
Well, you were front and center of this wreck. I think it started with you, right? Not that it was your fault, but the wreck started with your car.
Listen, I watched the replay a few times. Maybe it was my fault. I know.
What do you mean maybe?
I don't know if it's necessarily your
because
fault.
I want to be fair and honest on this podcast, and I'm looking at it, and I thought at the very beginning, I was like, what the hell? Somebody in front of me zigged and zagged, and I said this on my interview. It's like, these guys were tail wagging, and I was just pushing as I normally do. Spotter tells me they're locked on in front. That tells me I'm able to continue to push. Everything's kind of good to go. And, yeah, I was the end of the snake tail that lost control. But it looked like I knocked the 42 kind of out of control. Maybe it's on me.
I mean, what do you do in that situation? I think I remember Lambert starting to say stacking. Like, what do you do in that situation?
So what's happening, he's letting me know that the car... So I don't need him to spot the car in front of me, right? I can see that. What I like for Lambert to do is spot the couple cars ahead, and that's what most spotters do is they spot, because you want to know what is the gap to in front of that person and then that person, and then to allow to see is there space to continue this push or not. And I think what I probably should have done was when he said locked on and in front, known that okay, they. I think it's an important part of being the third or fourth car in line to keep your line moving. You lay back, you're going to drag the whole line back. So I'm trying to keep my line momentum going. But once I get the car in front of me to the car in front of him, then you let that be the momentum for your line. So I think that when he says locked on in front, I probably should checked slightly. Because then what happens is if the 42 is locked on in front and getting pushed from the back, he doesn't have much load on his tires because I've got the back jacked up and the front he's controlling with the front car in front of him. So I think that it's hard to get multiple cars linked all together like that without the tail wagging the dog.
Yeah, that's what it appears to look like here, is that the guy running second on the outside is, on the bumper of the guy running third, and then John Hunter's in front of you, and you're on John Hunter, and someone's going around in that situation.
Yeah, it certainly wish we had it to do all over again. We just got track position because we had pitted before that caution. I thought that my car was coming to me. It wasn't the best handling car that I've had there. We didn't have a whole lot of opportunities to work on it before we crashed. So I don't know. It sucks.
It wasn't handling well?
No.
He said he couldn't
But
run the
you
high line, right?
Yeah.
I thought the whole plan on Friday was you're going to qualify like because you're going to have a good handling car.
Well, we were going to have a car with plenty of grip. We had plenty of grip. We didn't have the handling to go with the grip. So you can't, if you have grip, that's great. But if you overload one axle more than another, then you're not optimizing the full grip of your car. And we didn't have good handling, so we did not get to optimize the actual grip of our car. Now, more changes. The temperatures were going to cool down, so everyone's car was going to even out quite a bit over time. But I felt confident we would have gotten it much closer than what it was to start the race, and then been okay, but never got to see it.
Is setting up a car for Atlanta similar to Talladega and Daytona in a way? Like, are there similarities, things you can...
No, they're totally different. The Atlanta, I would think if someone probably took like their Talladega car and qualified at Atlanta, they'd probably qualify on the pole. Maybe that's what the Penske cars do. Just say, screw the grip. We want to be out front. We want to qualify 1, 2, 3, 4, and then control the race from there. Maybe that's, because they had a gap from the next, like a 10th or so, and a 10th in Speedway qualifying is quite a bit. They had a gap to the next group of cars. So, to me, that says that they sell out for all-out speed, don't really worry about handling too much, which we were going to see had that wreck not happened. Do the Penske cars make their way back to the front? Because that's going to be the key. It's always easy to lead. You've got plenty of grip when you're leading. It's once you get shuffled to 4th, 5th, 6th, like, the air's getting a little worse. Car's handling a little sketchy. And then you put it back where they had to restart because they sold out for the stage points. It was going to be interesting to see if they made their way back.
I mean, that wreck cleared out half the field. Half the field was in it.
23 cars.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, that wreck was the best thing that happened to that race. There's no question about it whatsoever. Because what it did is it created space between the cars. We were not log jammed 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. There was space. There was only 15 cars maybe that were not damaged. So if you look, all the passing that was done at that end of that race, and it was a phenomenal race to watch. I was in the bus watching with you. It was created through space of the cars, and that's what we used to have on super speedways is space to work. Create a run, get the run, take the run, clear, move back up in line. The problem with Daytona and Talladega is there's no space. You can't pull out of line because you can't get back in line. And so we're all just log jammed in this 2x2 lane and we're stuck. Atlanta cleared out the field to create the space to create great racing.
So you don't think you would have had that without taking out 10 cars? That's what you're saying.
I don't think it would have been as good. No, I don't. I think it was a perfect mix of, because it was warm, handling meant something, not everything, but it did mean something. I could see that 45 was struggling with his balance at 54. I'm looking at them specifically because I see what they got. They were struggling with their balance a little bit. There was other, I thought the 9 was, in my opinion, by far the best handling car. He could hold the bottom line and hold it wide open easier than anybody else could that I noticed. So he had what looked like the perfect balance, the perfect amount of grip, and he was able to capitalize on it with a great move at the end.
Do you enjoy racing this racetrack now?
I was FOMO'd at the end of that race watching it with that much space and the guys creating the runs and having the ability to create the runs. And if they get shuffled to 8th, no problem. They're back in 3 laps. I had FOMO there because I was like, damn it, this would be so fun to be a part of this. and not the 2x2 because you're stuck. But this is what happens when you put the cars on edge of grip, and that's what Atlanta has. It's what we roll the tape from the previous Atlanta race. This is what we aspire Daytona and Talladega to be. It's where handling actually matters, to then start spreading out the field of good handling cars and bad handling cars. Give us space to work and work the lines, and then the best driver will come out on top.
Now, unlike Daytona and Talladega, the track is creating that, right? Because of its size?
Correct. Because of its size, because of the tight corners, it's creating the cars being more on edge of grip, where the corners are so broad and wide and the banking is so high at Talladega and Daytona, the car is never on edge of grip one way or another. So the best way to explain it is like the tires are undersaturated at Talladega and Daytona to where, you really almost could push in the corners at those tracks because the cars just have plenty of grip in reserve because of how slow it's going, how slow we've made the cars. Where Atlanta, you can't see it on TV, but the cars are sliding all the way through the corner. And so you can't run right behind somebody in the corner. You'll get aero tight or loose, so you got to back off a little bit. Well, then that creates a gap. Somebody gets a run, boom, takes your gap. So the fantastic racing was just a perfect combination of everything that had happened between the car, track, and then that wreck.
Do you think I saw a few people on X saying this is now the best race we got on the Cup Series schedule?
That's a stretch. Yeah, that's a stretch.
I think people are caught in the moment.
No question. Now, I can tell you, we're about to go to 2 road courses, and they're probably... I think we're going to go through a couple week. Man, I did this with Ricky Recchi, right?
I think that was a Freudian slip, though.
Yeah. I know, but I just I slip the tongue sometimes. We're going to look back at this 2 weeks from now after watching 2 road course races with this car. We're going to say, man, take us back to Atlanta. That's what we're going to be saying. But then we get back to more conventional tracks and whatnot.
So I have a question about this full field wreck. How are drivers scored after you all get taken out in the same wreck?
Yeah. Okay. God, great question, Jared. I'm in the garage and they said, hey, you can pass the 24, the 22, blah, 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 on and on and on. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was ahead of them when we all crashed. Like, we were all on the hook. We all rolled to DVP. So how were they scored ahead of me? It's why we spent, by the way, 2 hours fixing our cars to beat the cars that we were already ahead when we crashed. I guess I'm really not sure how that is. And maybe Mike Ford could help us out on this. He has a lot of questions to get answered because he cheated Corey Heim out of his perfect race in
we'll
the trucks. There. Yeah, I know we'll get there. I know it's not Mike Ford's fault, by the way, but it's just funny. I don't know how cars that are usually when you crash, if none of you cross the start-finish line again, it's wherever you were scored right before the crash. I think this is right. This is how I understand it, so it's probably wrong. It's wherever you were on the last loop, green flag, or it's the start-finish. I can't recall a time that any of those cars, like they were all crashed behind me.
Right.
Like, let's just pretend I started this wreck. I'm at the front of the field. They're at the back. I don't know how they ended up leapfrogging me unless they got towed from the other direction and crossed the start-finish line.
That doesn't seem like it would make sense.
It doesn't seem like it makes sense. Somebody needs to clarify for me. Mike Ford, please send me a text and let me know how I was scored. I ended up going back out and repassing these guys.
I think you were scored 37th at first, and you got to 31st, right?
That's right. We passed 6 cars. Shout out to the 11 team for getting me back out. Way to work. Brandon, the whole team, fantastic job. We actually would have been out quite a bit sooner, but even though visually you could see nothing wrong with my rear bumper on the body, they said it was too crushed in. The metal part underneath was too crushed in. And so for safety reasons, like if I were to ever back in the wall, they didn't want that crushed stone gone. So we had to take the body rear bumper off, spoiler, all that stuff, replace the rear bumper, and then put the body back on. So actually we were in there. That was probably, it took twice the time to repair.
Probably about a solid hour of repairs.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a traffic jam of tow trucks trying to get into the garage.
I know.
And I didn't know this, but the crews can't start working on the car until the tow truck driver successfully...
The tow truck? See? It's hard.
The tow truck driver successfully backs the car into the pit stall.
And by the way...
not the pit stall, the
garage
stall.
And
which they never completed with you, by the way.
Because these doors were like, you got like 1 foot on each side of the car to get this thing in. I'm amazed that the driver did as well as he did to get me as close to the entry of the garage stall. We could have had a party back there with all the wrecked cars. Oh, the drivers just got out and just wait on your number to be called. Your car's ready. All right, let me get back in here.
A driver waiting room.
Yeah.
What was it like just sitting there?
Well, I told Tyler, grab me my phone. Give me my phone, Tyler. He grabbed my phone so I could I wanted to watch the race, and then I went on social media just to see what was up, whether they were blaming me for the wreck or not. And then I need to see a few replays. And I was like, maybe.
Do you get hungry, thirsty, like sitting like?
My ass hurt. I mentioned that afterwards, but I didn't realize how uncomfortable my ass gets when I don't have racing to distract me.
I was wondering.
And I'm just sitting in the car, right? And you're just.
It's not like a comfortable seat.
It's fairly comfortable. I've gotten the best snoozes ever in a driver's seat.
But you can't move. Like
I
that
know,
would bother
but
me.
Think about a baby being swaddled.
I don't know. I can't recall experiencing that.
You walk upstairs.
I'm just saying it.
You're like a little cocoon.
Yeah. So it's good and it's warm. It's fine, but the bottom of the seat is hard and it's right on my butt bone. And I realized when I got out, I was like, dang, man, when you don't have the racing to distract you, it's more uncomfortable than I thought.
And you're not moving, so it's the same pressure points that it's hitting. It's like you're not.
Yeah, I never loosened up. Nothing. Like I didn't want to give NASCAR any excuse to knock me out of this race. So, yeah, I stayed buckled in, which is such a weird thing. I guess the protocol is because I didn't go back and make minimum speed, I then had to go check in at the infield care center to make sure I was well. However, if I went out and I ran minimum speed 140, 50 miles, whatever it is, then I would not have had to go to the care center to check my wellness. So they told me, they said, hey, we're not trying to make minimum speed. We're just trying to go out there and run 3 laps and pass these 6 cars and then bring it to us because we got nothing to gain. And so I did. But at that point, I was like, damn, I should have just tried to make minimum speed so I didn't have to go check in.
How was that hit?
It was fine. Really, honestly, it wasn't bad at all. The 2 car had ARCA brakes, though.
What's that mean?
Means no brakes. He just barreled on in there like, he was going to try to hit a gap. And I think he said on the radio, though, he had no brakes.
I mean, to be fair to Cindric here, watching this replay, the seas do open. And if he's going to escape this wreck, he's gonna escape it through that hole.
Yeah, but my philosophy is usually, and my advice to drivers that are coming up is that it's unlikely you're going to hit those gaps. Sometimes the C's part just perfectly. But if you actually just hold the wheel straight and slow down, the impact to your car will be less and you won't get taken fully out. Like if the 2 started just checking up, he wouldn't have destroyed the front of his car because he was coming at me at 150 miles an hour saying, I'm driving through it, Harry.
Flipped his glasses down, went into sport mode.
He did. He did.
You said that you met minimum speed, you wouldn't have to go to the care center. Do drivers not like going to the care center? Like what do you do when you get in there? How do they check to make sure you're A-okay?
I don't know.
Like
I don't know if I'm legally allowed to say. I probably. I always err on the side of share more and not less. I would say, so they check can you touch your nose, look at this, look at that, follow my, basically a DUI stop,
Well, he's sober.
It's what it feels like. It is. And then you got to read off all the numbers on the iPad and the speed. So you set your baseline before the year starts. You read all these numbers and they're spaced out, right? But they're in rows and there's 5 numbers per row. And it's 5, 2, 7, 9, 4, 6, 6, 4, 3, 4, 8, 9, 6. But, so you're reading it. And at the beginning of the year, you create a baseline of how fast you can read it. And then they check you after you bump your head and see, can you do it as fast or not within a certain tolerance?
Makes sense.
Why are you laughing?
Because that's just that can't feel good if you go in there midway through the season and, you just get a T-bone or something on the racetrack and then you're slower. It's man, 44 years old is really catching up on me.
Can I just tell you
numbers
this?
as fast.
You know how competitive I am? Every time I go in there and I read those numbers, I want them to be so impressed with how fast I can see and read numbers. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm rattling off these numbers so freaking fast that they're I think he's smarter than he was before he got in a wreck.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I really try to set the bar high. Yeah, but accuracy does matter. You can't just rattle off numbers they have to match.
Well, duh.
It's pretty basic. They check your heart rate, your CO2 levels. You're in and out of there. 10 minutes, in and out.
Is there a line when you get in there?
They asked, do you remember what happened? I said, yeah, somebody caused a wreck and I got caught in it. They're like, uh-oh, he's not well.
That's what they ask you in the care center. They're just giving you practice for your interview when you come outside.
I know. All right. I don't know. Let's move on.
Okay. You were upset by Dillon in the bracket.
I was upset by you can take that 2 different ways. I was upset
No, it'd be Dillon upset Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin upset.
Yes. I see people giving Dillon a lot of flack.
Good.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Dillon,
hilarious.
Give him his moment, people. He beat me. Travis, God, you are. I mean, you were my brother, man. You're gonna have my back. I mean, you're almost as loyal as Austin.
Did he finish ahead of you? Did he beat
He was ahead of me the whole fucking race, Travis. I was 33rd.
He wasn't ahead of you the entire race.
Crashed.
Though. He avoided the crash because he had a pit penalty.
I hear you, but just let him have his moment. He texted me. He was like, "Hey, I was just playing around." I'm like, "Bro, I loved it." If you people think that you are going to hurt my feelings by coming in my mentions and saying, "Ha ha, Dillon beat you," I'm like, you're never going to make fun of me more than I'm going to make fun of myself. Ever. You're not going to offend me. I have really, really, really thick skin.
To your defense, you talk trash, so you know that it's going to get thrown back at you.
Of course. You open yourself up when you do that to the moments you fail, they're going to give it to you. But you got to be a big boy and take it. And I am going to take it from Dillon.
Might be really. I don't really have that much with him. It's Fox's NASCAR account that can sit this one out. The Ty Dillon against the world.
Oh no, they didn't.
You
Travis.
had no idea what Denny was doing with the 11 against the world all time you had the races this year. Now you want to tweet about it? No.
Wow, this is an all-time episode.
I'm just saying, let him. If he wants to talk his trash, that's fine. Fox, sit this one out.
Yeah. You know, here's the thing, though. The guy had 2 hours to think about his acceptance speech. You know what I mean? Like, you know, in the car, you know, he's thinking, he sees me on the record. He's like, I sure hope they interview me after this race.
Dude, he had that probably on Monday morning last week ready.
No.
Yes.
No. I was 5-0 against him at this track. And that's, hey, and you know how bad I've been at Atlanta. Still was 5-0. But listen, this is the unpredictability of putting us on a speedway race. That's why I'm so against it being in the playoffs. That's why I'm so against it, you know, being like the start of our bracket. They knocked out 7 of the top 8 guys in points. How about this? Here's a fun fact. There are no winners.
There's one.
There's no winners except for Chase Elliott left in the bracket. 0 winners.
So do you think that ruins the bracket?
I think it's probably not a good strategy if you had to pick, if NASCAR's like, how do we get people engaged, whatnot? It's probably not a good strategy to knock out all your top guys, because not only that is you're probably people that fill out brackets. All right, think about it like NCAA. When your bracket is absolutely smashed after round 1, do you really care about round 2 and 3, 4, 5? No. So you're going to be less interested in the second round, third round because your bracket's already trashed.
You want like 2 or 3 upsets.
Yes, ideally.
Not 13.
Now listen, this isn't WWE. So you can't just write a script. But I'm saying, like, it's probably not a good idea next year to start this thing at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Just don't cause a wreck, Denny, and this wouldn't have happened.
Oh, if I didn't, I've been part of this. If I don't cause it, someone else is. And I'm going to be in it. So I've always found that the best strategy is actually to start the wreck. I've said this before. Start the wreck. Usually you won't get in it. But unfortunately, I'm not conceding that I started the wreck. I think the wreck started in front of me, and then I think I contributed to it by...
I gave you a simple instruction before the race. Avoid the wreck. Let them be.
You know,
dumb.
truthfully, I was going to be fine until Austin Cindric's ARCA brakes. I was going to be fine. I had no other suspension damage other than the right front where he drilled me. Left front, both rear tires, all good. We were good. We were fine.
So you just would have went and pitted, made a quick little fixes, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with how many cars there were, how many cars you say were in
23, I think, were involved.
23 and only 6 were knocked out? Maybe less than 6?
Yeah, because it's, under this new DVP policy, which I applauded. They asked me post-race, what's DVP, how was it? Did it work? I thought it worked well. I thought it's a really good test of team. We're racing to get out there quicker than others, and, everyone's damage is a little different, but it doesn't just knock you out. Now, would I have liked to have gone home a little earlier? Absolutely. But there, we had an opportunity because our car wasn't destroyed to go out there, let the mechanics go to work, let them shine. My team just did a great job getting me back out there and let me gain those 6 spots. Whether they matter or not, we don't know. We won't know for another 7-8 weeks.
Other JGR crew members allowed to work on your car, or is it just 11 team?
Good question. I think anyone can.
Because that's one thing I would like changed.
At the end of it, I don't know.
You think that it's just you only your team?
I think it should be just your team.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, this was a hard situation.
I think
every
that's
JGR
an
car
issue
had work
that's
to be
not
done
an
on it.
issue. However, I saw James Small and one of the head NASCAR officials nose to nose when they told him he was done. They had been working on that car, that 19 car, for an hour. And then he must have told James that they were done because something was bent that is not replaceable. Is that right?
After they I don't know the details, but after they brought out a carcass or whatever, the inside of the car, took the front bumper off for the 19 and then took the rear bumper off for your car. They had fixed and replaced the front bumper on the 19, and then we were told, you're done.
When I pulled in, the NASCAR officials were kind of all over the car because they're looking for is the chassis damaged to where, listen, we'll save you the time. Don't start repairing because we're not going to let you back on the track because of X, Y, or Z damage anyway. So maybe they missed it on the initial checkup of the 19, but they worked for a solid hour before they were told, no, you're done. And James Small was pissed. I mean, pissed.
Yeah. I mean, he was pissed from the start because that's when I realized, they're not going to let him start
Small
working on it.
I think he wakes up pissed.
He was.
I love his attitude personally. He's awesome. But they didn't. I didn't. And I looked at the 19 car. I was very surprised to see him towed into the garage. It looked fine to me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what all they had damaged, but it was something that was catastrophic apparently.
Chase Elliott wins this thing, and gosh, what a new Chase Elliott, celebrating with the fans in the stands.
Man,
I mean, he was emotional.
Was he?
Borderline.
I didn't see that part.
It seemed like it from his.
Well, I mean, he's in his home state. He had a special paint scheme on there with Raylan.
Yeah,
Raylan designed the paint scheme.
The Design to Drive program.
Yeah. So it's definitely special for all those reasons. And then on top of that, he makes the last lap pass. Like, yeah, if I was in his shoes, I certainly would, have some feels.
I mean, how long was it his last win?
44 races
Yeah,
ago.
like
does that get to you?
I think I've gone through one. I can't remember if I've gone that long. Surely I have. Yeah, I mean, I think that I think he's been over the course of the season kind of labeled as the third Hendrick guy. I mean, you can argue over 1A, but then it was like Chase and then Alex, and I'm just regurgitating what the fan sentiment is. I think that yes, it's a speedway race, but I thought the best car, best driver won. Like when I'm visually watching the race, like I thought that the 9 was just better than everyone else. He could make moves and clear when others couldn't. He had better handling, and that seemed to really matter. He should be proud of this race. It wasn't because while Atlanta is a speedway type race, it's not a roll of the dice speedway race like Daytona and Talladega, where the winner of those races are going to be completely random. They will be random, and they have been random because of the style of next gen super speedway racing we have. Atlanta is a hybrid that the driver skill and the car that is under you matters. And it was good to see that mattered at the end of that race. So I put this more in the book of not really a super speedway win, but more of a 1.5 mile win. So to me, they're valued more. I valued the 1.5 mile wins more simply because it's more driver skill involved.
Is there anything Alex Bowman could have done to help himself without screwing?
No. Alex did exactly what he was supposed to do. The 6 obviously is going to try to back up to 48, and the 48's going to say, no way. Like, I'm not going to, because the runs are so massive at Atlanta. Because the track is narrow, the air gets disturbed more than what it would at, say, a Talladega, where you've got a lot of distance for the air to escape. So the runs are massive at that track, and so any kind of push that you give the 6 down that backstretch, he would carry that run all the way to the start-finish and would have a legit shot at getting back at the 9. So the 48 did the right thing, which is the minute the 6 went low, he went high, or vice versa, and he just wanted to do whatever he could to get beside him and slow that run down.
It was fascinating to watch those last few laps because it felt like either you made the right decision or your opponents made the wrong decision, which would allow you to make another decision that could propel you forward. Like we watched Reddick, right? And I was asking you up until 2 to go, like he just needs to stay here, not take a run. This is where he wants to be. But then he had an opportunity to take a run. He didn't take it, and then it was all over.
Yeah. It's so easy to sit on the couch and quarterback it. Ideally, where do you want to be going into the last lap? You want to be second. I think that's you can get the biggest run at that point. Now, that is assuming that the third place person you're going to be able to back up to them and get the run. I thought he got a good enough run at 2 to go, cross the line 2 to go, to make a move on the 6. Go down to the bottom, clear him, then take the lead. So you're now in the lead on the back stretch, coming to 1 to go. I think that was the right move to do, which is to just take the lead from the 6 at that point, and then cross your fingers that either you only get passed by one car the next lap that you can repass, or what happens is what happened on the last lap with the 48 and the 6, is that you get to the lead, the people in second and third are arguing over who's going to be second, they start battling, and then you are able to cruise to a victory. So I think I believe, and I haven't talked to him, we haven't had our meeting yet, I believe the mentality was second is the place to be, and I agree with that. However, at Atlanta, I think you got to take every run you can get. I just don't think third place is going to let you sit there, because third place knows I need to be in second. I'm not going to let you sit there in the catbird seat. I need to be in that position. And what happened is when the 45 didn't take the run on the 6, the 9 did. 9 ended up winning the race.
Right. Well, he had multiple runs. He had 2 or 3 opportunities to make a pass or make a run in the last handful of laps. It wasn't until the last.
I don't know that he had that many opportunities. I think that was the only one he had. Now, he got shuffled early. Be honest with you, I didn't think his car looked as strong as the 6, the 48, or the 9. I thought he was a little bit of a deficit car-wise. And it looked like handling. It looked like he just would get tight, or I'm not really sure, but he would lose corner speed to those guys. So he needed things to work out just perfectly for him, but I don't know. I mean, second guessing, you probably take that run if you have to do it all over again.
Yeah, you just don't know when the last opportunity for that run is going to be.
Hey, it's Dale Jr. Did you know that we've got brand new merch from our Stars, Stripes, and Beers collection available now? We've got tanks, tees, beach towels, and more just in time for summer. Check it all out at shop.dirtymomedia.com.
Trav, do we want to talk about the bracket and the matchups, and now who are the matchups going forward?
Yeah, let's touch on them.
Okay, so if I had to... So now these racetracks start to get a little more predictable.
You're going to Chicago next.
Yeah, it's a road course, unpredictable, blah, blah, blah. Like, we haven't even had a dry race at Chicago yet. But again, I think these are a little more predictable. Ty Dillon versus Keselowski. This is going to be a closer matchup than what people were thinking. I'm going to ride with Ty on this.
You have to. If you lose to a driver, you've got to root for him to continue, because at least you lost to the champion.
I'm going to go Ty Dillon over Brad Keselowski. The next one, Bowman Bubba, another barn burner. This is going to be close. I'm going to go Bubba, although Bowman is I'm a homer. I'm going Bubba, but Bowman is really good at Chicago. People, just mark that on your card. Nemechek Elliott. I'm going to go chalk here and go Elliott. Just, his record on, while he hasn't won a next-gen road course race, he's been the next in line pretty much every time. So, and he was really strong at Mexico. He came on strong there at the end. I'm going to go Elliott. So Dillon, Bubba, Elliott, Jones, and Stenhouse. I think just Ricky finds a way to finish better than he races.
But Legacy's been
Legacy
much
has
better.
stepped up. We have not given Legacy enough flowers on their improved performance year to year, but this is your 5 seconds. Good job. I'm gonna go Ricky just because I think he just finds a way. I think Ricky finds a way. So we're gonna go the underdog there. Gregson versus Priest. I'm gonna go Priest on this one. I think his car is a little better. That's my reasoning. Hocevar Reddick. Hocevar, no. Reddick, yes. And that is not a homer pick. Allmendinger versus Gibbs.
That's going to be a good one.
Oh, boy. It's a close one. They're both, I'll go Gibbs. I say that reluctantly, but I'll go Gibbs. I think he's on the edge on these road courses of being kind of like right behind the best.
He was right behind the best at Mexico City.
Allmendinger's not like he's been good, but I don't know if this is factual or not, but his road course finishes has not backed up his talent level over the last few years. It's just, they had a lot of issues, so that's why I'm going to go Gibbs on this one. Zane Smith, Chris Buescher. I'm going to go Chris Buescher because the guy finishes freaking 10th at every single road course. 8th to 10th, every road course. Book it. He won Watkins Glen last year, but I think there's an unbelievable stat of him finishing like 8 straight road courses or some in the top 10. And so Buescher's the safe play on that one.
Who do you think wins this thing now? Looking at this bracket and the road that each driver would have if they were to advance.
If I have to pick a winner right now, after this is Sonoma, right?
Yeah.
This thing is setting up really nice for Chase Elliott.
I think it's going to be a Chase versus Reddick.
It just, Chase has not had the bad days that every other person has. Like he's just, he'll go invisible a few races where he'll finish 15th and it's like just not even close, but he still finishes 15th. And then people like me and Larson and others just finish dead last because we'll crash. So the final four is going to be, there's going to be 2 2311 cars, Bubba and Elliott. And then it's going to be Reddick and Buescher. And, it's, God, the Reddick Buescher one at Dover, right?
Yeah.
I'll give Reddick the nod there, just barely. Bubba's going to give Elliott all he wants at Dover, but Elliott's good at Dover. But Elliott, I think y'all are right. We're looking at a Reddick, Elliott, Indy, and Reddick ends up winning. I know y'all are going to say I'm such a homer, but I'm using my brain here.
Reddick won the bracket challenge last year.
Really?
Yeah.
I just think the track's set up good.
There was different tracks, obviously, when we did it, but
he's going to have to get more speed on the road courses than what he's shown so far. I think, Mexico, they were definitely off. I think that either, I think Bubba or Riley, it was actually our best car. Riley had the best track position all day of all of our cars. But I don't know. We'll see. That's my pick. Reddick beats Elliott, with the final four being Bubba, Elliott, Buescher, and Reddick.
And that's only saying that the next 3 races go as predictable as we think, right?
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck with that.
Real quick before we move on from Atlanta.
We got Heim at Lime Rock, right?
I know, but Chase Elliott now second in points. You and Larson seem
Boy,
surprised.
What
by
a
that.
quiet sec. I mean, when I say we, I'm talking about the 24, the 5, and the 11 just absolutely in the bed when it comes to these regular season points. And the 9 is just steady, steady Eddie, and found himself now second in points, only 30. Byron had a sizable lead at one point, but he's had a couple bad weeks in a row. Elliott's now second in points. I'm back to fourth. I think that's right. Yeah. Up to second in points. I don't know. The regular season, especially, is like, as crazy as this sounds, this is crazy, but it's true. The 24, I thought, was a full-blown lock to win this regular season championship, just because of, I think he's been running as good, if not actually a little better than the 5 here lately on speed and a few other things. Execution-wise, certainly. I think he should be more worried about Chase Elliott than Kyle Larson. If the two had the exact same amount of points with 5 races to go, I think the 9 is more dangerous because he's not going to have the bad finishes that we have. He just doesn't DNF. He just he's like Chris Buescher, but slightly better results. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
He's just consistent.
Yeah.
And he's going to have a fast car.
Yeah. I would, if I'm Byron, I'm sweating now that the 9 is the next in line. Just because I think he's steady and fast enough to really have to keep the 24 honest to not have really bad days.
Tell you what, those bubble drivers are happy that Chase won because that Chase
No
and
question.
Tyler were the only two really
No
left
question.
out there.
Yeah, absolutely. As an owner of a cars near it, I was like, yeah, let's go Chase.
It feels just like this win now, people are starting to put a little more respect on Chase Elliott's season.
Yeah, they should. I mean, they should. If you look at his results, like he's got some top 5s in there. I don't know how many he's got, but I think over the last 5 races, I feel like he's got 3 of them or so.
Yeah, but he hadn't won, and so I think when you drive for
know.
Hendrick as a fan, that's a team that you expect should be winning, and if you're not winning, then you're not holding up your end of the deal.
He expects it too, though. Like I don't.
But
think,
Jared's saying that fans are kind of like, well, that's
Right, like, is this Allen, Gustafson, Chase Elliott pairing run its course? Need to be changed, blah, 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 blah.
that's what happens when you're
can't listen to these people. They have no idea.
No, but that's what happens in sports when a good team is not winning. Is it the coach? Is it the coordinator?
I hear you. Hopefully that this win changes that tune for a little while.
Truck Series went to Lime Rock Park this weekend, and Corey Heim, like you said, raced nearly a perfect race. Led 900.
So what could he have done different to have a perfect race?
Led the last lap.
No, he
Led the second to last lap.
What does he say? Let
He led 99 of 100 laps. How did this work out? That so and so passed the start and finish line before him?
So because NASCAR wants to create exciting restarts, they let the second place guy line up right beside the leader. Well, when they got the push on the restart, the 34 must have been like a cat's ass hair f***ing ahead of him. I don't know. And they said that now the 34 is the leader. And Corey got cheated. I don't know. That's just wacky. I think that somehow you gotta, after the choose or whatever, like you need to lock in wherever they're at. Like that, man, talk about false advertisement. It just, the fact that they actually count that as a lap led is just.
That's what it should be. You shouldn't count it until
they
you
come
go
back
around.
around. That's right. When you come back around, that's common sense. But we're not. We got to create stats. We got to support our narrative through stats. That's what we've been bitching about for forever. But it's just, listen, does it really matter? Corey Heim dominated the race. He just kicked their ass. And so what does it matter? Is he going to care about a perfect race 5 years from now? No.
He's now 144 points ahead.
He should be thankful that his truck didn't end up beached outside turn 1. Like, some of the other cars in the field. As I told you, we were watching that race. I said, Jesus Christ, I'd be so pissed if I was out here in my car for 2.5 hours trying hard, and at the end of this thing, I'm Jordan. What's his name? Jordan Anderson.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No.
Got just knocked into the
Yeah, not Jordan Anderson. Jordan Taylor. And
Yep.
you just get knocked out into the field.
That's what's frustrating about our sport, right? Is that, you know, in the name of excitement, we line them up double file. We have green, white checkers, overtime, another overtime, and the next thing you know, somebody that was running 8th wins the race. It didn't happen in this instance, but it's all for the sake of entertainment. But it's the crazy tightrope that we walk every single week, and that's why we pray that we don't get these, because the drivers would love for it to just end like it's supposed to end. Like, where was I running? That's where I want to finish. That's where I deserve to finish. I don't deserve to get knocked out of the way by somebody that, you know, I had licked the entire race.
That's another thing I appreciate about Saturday night is you had all those passes and runs at the end, but
We
it was
didn't
done
have a
clean.
caution.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. It was enjoyable to see, no doubt.
We're headed to Chicago.
Hey, bro.
This weekend.
Bro.
What?
Sanchez.
Nick Sanchez.
Give him some love.
Come on, man.
Xfinity race. Nick Sanchez.
Nick Sanchez first. Did he win in trucks? God, I hate we don't know this. I'm sorry, Nick Sanchez.
I feel like he did win.
He had 2 He's got 2
He
wins
did.
in the truck series.
Wow, how'd you get that so quick?
Wikipedia.
Oh. Congrats to Nick Sanchez. Now has won the truck series and now the Xfinity series. He won Atlanta. Great job. Great driving by him. And a great win for that 48 team. They've had some really good drivers over the last few years. Parker Kligerman. I'm a huge Parker Kligerman fan, by the way. Not just as a commentator. I think he's actually a really, really, really good driver that just doesn't happen to have a ton of funding behind him like other people do. But just, man, awesome for that 48 team. Scott Borchetta, I believe, that owns that team.
Yep.
It's just a great win. That race really got opened up when the 21 car had his issues, and
then he was mad about, what was he mad about after the race?
I don't know. I think somebody gave him the bird.
Oh, yeah. And he told him that'll be the last time or something he do that.
I wouldn't give Austin Hill the bird. Just, no. You're going to have to let that one slide. Yeah, I mean, just Nick Sanchez, I think is, he had a lot of hype a few years ago coming into the truck series. I think he came through the, is it the diversity program? The Rev Racing diversity program? See, now I'm sounding like an idiot, but I think that's right. And so he was like one of the prospects in my mind that I looked at. I was like, wow, he's actually quite good. He ran well in ARCA when he ran, and now he's performing really at every level that he's gone to. So now, like, you got to start taking notice of Nick Sanchez and his ability. And one of the key stats I saw from one of the stat guys on X was, he's the leading restart guy in the Xfinity series. That's hard to do. It really is, especially when you're going up a cars, in my opinion, he's going up, against probably 8 or 9 cars that are better than his. Like, it's hard to, be the leader of the restart, stat. And now he's, put himself in the playoffs. I think he was right kind of on that edge anyway. I don't know. I think he can do pretty good things, and certainly think that this win hopefully is that springboard to that team taking the next step. I think they have an RCR alliance, so they're kind of the next step behind the 21 and the 2 car. Great win for Nick. Really happy for him.
You'd be correct about the Drive for Diversity program.
Okay.
Also, this was the second win in the team's history for Big Machine. Do you know who had the other only win?
Tyler Reddick.
Yep, you're right.
All right. Well, I think we covered that. What else we got? Chicago.
55% chance of rain on Sunday.
We'll see if Jordan can't have another baby.
Hey, rain almost helped you out on Friday with qualifying.
Oh, it was so close, right, Jared? We were in the bus, and I was like, this is going to be the biggest discrepancy between where I start, rain or no rain. And it turned out to be either first or pretty much last. Yeah, it's fine. You know what? I actually was strong in.
If there's no rain at Chicago, I feel like
I've been
you
strong.
could be stronger.
I've been strong there. I got the pole there in inaugural year, and then the sky. We went and had a hurricane. We had a hurricane. Remember, it was swirling around Chicago, and so I never got to run a lap of dry in that race. Actually, I did at the very end of the first one, and I finished 11th. I think that's right because I was battling Buescher for, go figure, P10. I'm going to be ready for any conditions. I really am. I feel like I'm learning something. When the Mexico City race was going on and it was wet, I was like, man, I kind of wish I was trying it. Like, I want to get better at it. And I had a long text. I actually messaged Christopher Bell, says, hey, man, Denny Hamlin here, your teammate. Could you please tell me what you do in the wet?
Said wrong number.
He gave me a long text. And so, I don't know. I'm ready for it. Let's do it.
What number qualifying will you be happy with?
If it's dry,
Yeah.
inside the top 10. That's what I expect from myself. I'm really down on myself on road courses, but I wasn't that guy. Before the next gen car, I actually had like the second or third best average finish on road courses. I was the third place guy every week. I was the Chase Elliott of now next gen and pre-next gen.
This is true, Travis. This is a true story. Behind Truex and Chase, Denny was in the mix.
Yes. But the next gen came.
And you've done well in qualifying, so it's like, now can you just get the full race?
Yeah. Listen, at my age, I have to think about how I spend my resources and where do I choose to get better at. I can't go all out at every track, at every type. Like, I try to really work on places where I'm right on the edge of being the best driver at that track. What can get me over that edge? In order to get better at generally road course racing or generally in the wet, like, it would take so much time that I feel like it would hurt me in my energy level at the races that I can and should win. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
And so does the championship run through road courses? No. We got the Roval.
If you do your job, the Roval shouldn't be.
Yeah, and I'm serviceable enough at the Roval to get you a top 10 to 15. Like, that's on speed, that's where I'm at. Now, we haven't necessarily finished there because we've had to run strategy to chase points because this freaking cutoff that resets every 3 races, it's like, oh, well, we got to get our stage points, so it'll lock us into the next round. Well, then I got to start in the back of stage 2 every Roval, and it's, our result looks terrible because of that. But I'm faster than that. So, it's about managing the time and energy on the tracks that I should win at this point of my life.
But also with these road courses that aren't Sonoma and Watkins Glen, if you just run an average race, you will probably come away with a respectable finish.
If you flip stages, yes, you will absolutely come away with a good finish. However, my team, 11 team, has taken stage points, the few that we can get, and we end up starting in the back pretty much at the start of stage 3 every time. And so then my results look horrible because that's the strategy we take. It's to take the few points that we can get, and then maybe there's calamity that gets me a good finish, and now I've got stage points and a decent finish. But it just hasn't happened that often.
Well, let's hope for a dry track,
Yeah.
a strong qualifying session.
The fans deserve a dry track at Chicago.
Oh, they do too.
Right? I mean, they deserve a dry track. It's just...
Especially if this might be the last one.
It's been unlucky.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in early, do a little shopping,
It's July 4th on Friday.
I know. Exciting. Is there a fireworks somewhere?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know where, but there's certainly
Yeah, we
fireworks.
Probably over the lake.
Yeah. We got to find that. All right. What else you got?
Just some times. Practice Saturday at noon, with qualifying following
Can I just say,
at 1 p.m.
I was looking for practice and qualifying this week in Atlanta, and I could not find it. And I realized, it's not on Prime.
It's on TNT.
No, it was on True.
True.
Oh,
Just this.
Check the family of networks.
Oh my gosh.
It's not that hard, guys. It's really
You
not.
say it's not, but I'm in the freaking sport, and I couldn't find practice and qualifying.
Have you not heard?
I thought all of practice and qualifying was on Prime for the whole year.
No.
Okay, so let's
Even if
let's
you
do
did, you
a public
can
service
check.
announcement then. Is after these 5 races with TNT over, does it go back to Prime?
well, then it's NBC.
I know, but
I don't know, but you know how I find out? I can check
you
the
don't
app.
know exactly. That's the whole.
But I
point.
can check the app and figure it out.
They're
It's-
putting a lot of faith that people are going to go check this.
well, then
check
if you
that.
don't check,
Like,
then you can't. I can't take these fans about. I can't find it.
Travis, I drive in the NASCAR Cup Series, and I for 20 minutes could not find fucking practice and qualify.
But did you try checking the guide? Did you check the app?
No, practice and qualifying has been on Prime the entire year. I didn't know that once we switched to TNT, it now is going to be on True TV. That is difficult. I don't care who you like.
We literally said on the podcast last week where it was going to be.
I didn't listen.
Well,
Hold on, Travis. I'm now checking not the app but the website to try and educate myself on where qualifying will be
Can't do
for
it.
each race. I mean, if
You got to follow Bob Pockris.
no. If you go to the website and you check each individual race, we have the whole schedule here.
By the way, that whole what you're on right now is not user friendly. I can tell you that, and it works half the time. I'm telling you, it's we got to do better.
I have to show up.
All right. Well, what's it on? Practice.
It's on
TBD. Go look it up. The race will be on TNT on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern.
I got a review here from Corbett from Spotify. Denny, you're my reason for liking NASCAR. My buddy has been trying to get me into it, and I'm a Buckeye guy for life. Oh, Travis chose this one. So I choose you as my driver, and you've made the first season awesome. Bought a lot of merch already.
There's a lot of merch. I'm telling you, we're doing well on the merch stuff. They need to have more stuff though. I feel like maybe it's time 2311 and JGR have like separate trailers because like it really limits the amount of merch that they can carry.
What do you mean?
So like the popular guys have their own trailer, right? And so they have Kyle Larson, for instance, probably has 20 different shirts you can choose from. Well, when you share trailers with, I think all of JGR and all 2311 share trailers. So when a trailer, and so there's only so much they can.
There's almost so much space.
So much space, and so there might be 2 shirts of each driver. I don't know. It's not much. It's really, really hard. And so I'm voting E2 for you guys to split 2311 and JGR so we can spread our wings. Of course, we're not in the top 5 of souvenir sales.
Well, maybe
we only have 2 items. Let us spread our wings. Let this dog hunt.
E2 is going to send you a bill for a second trailer.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys after Chicago. That'll do it. See ya.